to be discussing the same old shit I'm always discussing. It's disgusting how much I talk about it. I'm going to be discussing this disgustingly redundant thing that I can't seem to get anyone to listen to. I want to explain uh, some logistics about the globe, living on the globe Earth, that I just feel like they're just, it's just, it's just so dumb. And like, I'll explain my perspectives on why I think so. And it's not like your typical flat earther. I obsess over this one angle, this one thing. It's just one aspect of living on a globe that just, for me, it kind of destroyed the whole idea. Like I was trying to, I always got in the flat earth the way, same way everybody else does. I was thinking like, no fucking way, and and after you realize how, you end up slapping yourself around like, how come I didn't fucking think of this? How come I didn't ever see this? Why did I even want to argue about against it? Like it's just, I didn't. I mean, I wasn't someone that was trolling flat earther videos. I was going on and watching it with just sheer amazement and just like disbelief. I saw right away what was going on with the dynamics between the Globers and the, that's shit's easy to see. It's just like, well, these guys are assholes and these flat earthers are interesting people. And they're not really stupid, actually. So, I knew better than to open my mouth and start talking shit. I was just like, wow. And one of the things that really kind of confused me at first was like, why are these Globers so mean? And like, where did, how did the conversation go that direction? Why is it such a, because I was just fascinated and amazed. Like, at first I didn't believe it either, but I was like, I can't imagine just wanting to get all mad and like pissy and talk shit. The people that were presenting the flat earth content, they weren't like being jerks, and for the most part, I mean, I could see some of them were being jerks, but that's just because they're being treated like shit. But the point is, like, they were like genuinely interested in something, and they're expressing that. It's not like they were trying to fight with anybody. But these assholes come along and start throwing all these fighting words at them. You know what I mean? Jeremy Bird, what's up, man? Nice to see you. Right on. I got someone to talk to. So yeah, the flat Earth awakening is pretty interesting. It's like it's sort of like a roller coaster. At first you're just like, this is fucked up. This can't be happening. And then after you sort of go down that first hill, you're like, yeah, this is definitely happening. This is pretty fucking weird, pretty crazy, not something that you really were expecting at all. And so like everybody has a certain thing that sort of makes it click, where it's just like, what? I mean, to where it's like, I mean, everything clicks eventually, or not everything, but I mean, it all starts to make a lot more sense, after you do the necessary amount of research, which blows me away how there's people that are like Globers or whatever that have been on board this whole time and just been arguing tooth and nail the whole time. And it's like, you basically seen all the content I've seen, and we've come to complete opposite conclusions, And it's just like, are you sure you're not just grifting? I'm just trying to find out the truth. But here, the thing is, like, there's something about every flat earther or whatever you want to call us, there's a certain breaking point where it's just like, okay, like this is, I mean, you just realize like this is real. This is true. This is a lot more true than what I thought was true. And the breaking point of my particular breaking point was like, when I finally just went over the edge, no pun intended, was the realization. And this is interesting because it's like I've tried to express this to so many people so many times, and the prominent flat earthers. Jeranism actually did humor me for a second, but Dave Weiss was on, and he kind of shut it down, or it's like there's no way to prove it or something, and they just kind of jumped to the next subject. But like the point is, I've hardly gotten any attention about my particular perspective on this, and I think it's actually, I think I have a pretty viable, like, I just wish people would take me seriously. Because what really fucked me up when I started thinking about everything was like, what fucked me up in a way of like, I can't believe in the globe anymore, was the idea. I was thinking, because we were talking about, someone was talking about the North. I think it was Dave Weiss's video, actually, the circumnavigating for dummies. That's what it was. That got me thinking. And I'm just like, okay, well, if you're correcting to the North Pole, that's where all compasses are correcting to the north. And so then east and west are circles on the globe and on the flat Earth. And so I started thinking about it. I'm like, so let's say we could go and mark those east and west, latitude lines, I guess, if you want to call them, and just start making circles out, moving out from the North Pole, because it makes sense that east and west would be circles because there's a single point that you're correcting to, and if you want to, and if you're going around that point, that's like you're not going north and you're not going south, so you're going east or west. So those are circles, and the compass is kind of like a model almost of Earth, like in the sense that it's like a working model of the directionality on Earth. Notice how it's flat, and notice how the needle is straight, north, south, straight lines. You're just walking away from the north, you're going south, so it's like it's a straight line. And the needle is straight. It's indicating a straight line going towards the north or going away from the north. And the compass is in the shape of a circle, which could be indicating that, if you're correcting to the north, you're going to be making circles. If you're not going north or south, it's like a model of Earth, and it's flat. They have compasses that are in a little bubble, with water or whatever. I've seen those, but the compass part, it's the Earth part is still depicted on the top of the water, on the flat part. So it's just flat. That's all there is to it. But I'm back to my thing here, my breaking point, which was, okay, so let's say we started if we could somehow mark the latitude, or just east and west circles. It doesn't even have to be the latitude lines, but just say you got to the North Pole and we make circles around it. And so we start making bigger and bigger circles, the concentric circles, right? If you watch my shows, you've heard me carry on about this forever, but I'm just trying to get someone to fucking say something. So like you start making bigger and bigger circles. And I made up this idea, this story. It's like an idea that would be a cool kids book or something, or maybe a book to help people wake up. But it's like, the idea was to have the concentric circle lottery. Like you win the concentric circle lottery, and it's like you have to start at the North Pole and you make a circle, and that's your property, and you're allowed to take another step south, circle around, and then that's now your property. Whatever is inside the circle is your property. And that's the rules. You can take a step south and circle around. Now that's your property. So you get the idea. It's like, you can get a lot of property doing this. The only rules are you have to step south, circle around, and that's your property now. And, you can't take 20 steps south. You have to take one step south and circle around. Now that's your property. You can't go back into the north and make another circle. No. The only thing you can do is step south, circle around, and make it. Now that's your property. So, anybody would understand this, and they'd immediately be like, wow, I'm going to own a lot of property here. Let's go. Let's do this. A board game. That's a great idea, buddy. Nice. Great. I love how that's wonderful. I think that immediately got all these ideas. Good job, man. I like that feedback. That's great. Great. I know it's great because immediately when I read that, I was all these ideas popped into my head. I was like, overload. Whoa. Cool, man. Thanks. And, so you circle around, get your property now. And so anybody in their right mind would be like, fuck yeah, I'm down. Let's do this. You start getting all this property, acquiring all this property, moving out from the North Pole, and it's just like expanding. Wow. And it's like, you only own what's in the circle. Remember. Okay. And you have an infinite amount of time. The whole world's cooperating with you. It's not about money. It's just about circling around. And now that's your property. It gets to the point where you own countries and oceans, and everything is within your circle. It's yours, So it's like, wow, this is crazy, I'm gonna own the whole world. Eventually, I'm gonna own the whole world, right? Eventually, if I kept doing this, right, I'm gonna own the whole world. Is that right? Well, let's think about it. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, because you're just expanding out. Why in the fuck wouldn't you? Makes sense to me. I mean, am I right? Neil deGrasse Tyson, or fucking, Simon Dan, or Professor Dave, you know, like, am I right? It's like if I just kept expanding out, like, am I eventually just going to own the whole world? Take one step south, circle around. Now that's my property. Yeah, the circles keep getting bigger and bigger. Yeah, I'm just going to eventually own the whole world, right, Dave? Professor Dave, that is, right? 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 Anybody would think, right? Yeah, that's right, because you're just expanding out. What's stopping you? Nothing's stopping you. I'm just going to own the whole world. Not if you live on a globe, because if you live on a globe, the biggest circle you're going to make is at the equator. You'll only own half the world. That's the biggest circle you're going to make, the equator, and that's only circling around half the world, right? So once you start moving south from the equator, take another step south, circling around. Now your circles are getting smaller. You're losing property. You don't believe it at first, but you do it again. Now you lost even more property. The circles are smaller, and I'm working on the inside of the circle now somehow. What the fuck happened? I don't know, but you just go crazy and you keep doing it, and you're just losing more and more and more, and you're just working your way towards some other part of the world. Like all that stuff that you had circled originally, that's no longer in your circle. That's gone. Nobody knows what the fuck happened to it. But it's like, dude, all you did was just follow the instructions, take one step south, circle around. That's your property now. But for some reason, now we're circling some other area and we're enclosing in on some other area. We lost all the other stuff that we had circled, and our circles keep getting smaller now. This doesn't make any sense. This is crazy. You know? And so, like, the true fucking, like, reality of it all, I just think that's nuts. But it's like, that's what we're supposed to believe would happen if we live on a globe. I think that's what we're supposed to believe. I need to talk to somebody about this because it's really been fucking with me for quite a while. I mean, because if that's really what we're supposed to believe, then that's a bunch of horse shit, right? I mean, it seems like pretty obvious that's horse shit. Because I would like to make the claim right here. This is my claim. I don't usually make claims, but the thing is, I'm claiming if you start somewhere, make a circle somewhere, and this is my property, and then you just keep expanding out from that one spot. That one spot is always going to be in the very middle of your property. That's just fact, right? But it's like if you only own what's in the circle, right? That's where the issue is here. It's because once you get to the equator, that's the biggest circle you can make on a globe Earth, 24,000 miles around. There's still more space past that, but for some reason, once you take another step south of the equator and circle around, now you got a smaller circle, and that circle is circling a whole different area because you can't fit more space inside of a smaller circle. So that circle is actually not going around all the stuff that you'd already circled. It's going around a whole different area now. And now when you take a step south and circle around, you're inside your circle. And so you're cutting yourself out. You're losing property every time. So it's a real conundrum. Anybody clever would realize that you don't have to stop at the equator and be like, okay, I'm good with this game here now. I don't want to own the whole world, and I don't think it's possible to own the whole world because we live on a globe, and this is a fucked up riddle. There's something fucked up about all this. Doesn't really make any sense. I'd have half a mind to just tell you, like, just because of this one fucking thought exercise, that that it's impossible that we live on a globe. But I know there's a lot of other shit going on, So it's like the other half of my mind is busy trying to come up with like ways to make it work or just arguments against people that think it's possible. But like the thing is, the only conversations I've had with Globers about this one conundrum. Maybe I've lost you already. I don't know, but this is a real thing inside my head. I feel like this is real. It's a real problem. Like you have to start at the North Pole just to make it easier for people to understand. But technically, if you live on a sphere, you'd start anywhere, right? Because it's all Oh, but if you live on an oblate spheroid, it gets kind of. Let's just keep it a sphere for now. Like you should be able to start anywhere, and then just circle around and just keep moving. Once you reach the median, which is just halfway across the sphere, your circles start to get smaller. So the biggest circle you're ever going to make on a globe is the circle that goes around the middle. But what's weird about that is like, so that's the biggest circle you're going to make, but there's still more Earth past that. You only made it halfway across the Earth. So you'd think there'd be more space, so you could make a bigger circle. But no, you got your mind all stuck on this globe thing. So it's the problem. You're just gonna believe whatever they tell you at that point because like, it's just like, well, there's no way we'll ever really know because we'd have to go out there and measure it out ourselves. No, you don't have to do that, dude. You don't have to go out and measure it for yourself. Because here's the thing: if I draw a circle on the ground, can you draw a smaller circle around the outside of it? No. Okay. Well, that right there can scale out. It's not going to be any different of a situation if it's a fucking enormous circle or if it's a small circle. You'll never be able to draw a smaller circle around the outside of it. It's just not possible. Oh, but if you live on a globe, it is. Yeah, but you can't use we live on a globe as proof that we live on a globe. So that's just that argument's out the window. The thing is, you're never going to be able to draw a smaller circle around the outside of another circle on the ground. This is not going to happen. It doesn't matter how big or small it is. That scales out. Like, there's no reason why you can't just scale that out. People think, oh, if it's the equator, then it's different. You draw a smaller circle. No, it isn't any different. You're going to be on the same fucking situation where you're like standing here making a circle. There's no special situation going on where you're not going to, where that's suddenly going to be possible, where you can draw a smaller circle around the outside of another one on the ground. Nope. Sorry, not going to happen. Somebody else in here? Sue Finelli, hi. Nice to see you. Nice. So yeah, board game is a good idea. I like that idea. I just want like I want some one of these flat earthers that has a big audience. I want them to like take a bite into this subject that I brought up. I just feel like it's why isn't anybody talking about this obvious dilemma? I can't say dilemma without starting to think about the fucking mandala effect. Now I'm gonna be all stuck on that now. Because I know for a fact that the Bernstein Bears were the Bernstein Bears. They weren't no Berenstain Bears, and we all know that, right? Everybody should know that. That's fucking obvious. That's the one. That's like the gateway into like mandala effects. It's like because everybody knows that it wasn't the Berenstain Bears. I mean, everyone that's like that was born that was there when at the time, And I happen to have like an anchoring memory that I shared with everybody the other day. Probably you guys didn't hear, but where it's like my friend when I was in third grade, his name was Brian Bernstein, and we hung out together, and I was at his house one time, and you're like 8 years old, it's like those books are still fresh in your mind. And I think I saw one of those books at his house or something, and I was like, him and his mom were hanging out, and I remember being like, oh, that's cool that you guys have the same last name as Bernstein Bears, Brian Bernstein. And his mom was like, yeah, no, yeah, we thought about that too, or whatever. And so if it was Berenstain, she would have fucking corrected me and said, no, that's not our last name. It sounds kind of like it, but it's not. They're kind of playing off that, but it's Berenstain. She would have corrected me because she's a grown adult and she knows how her last name is pronounced and spelled, and she's read the books to her children, so she's fucking familiar with the books and knows that there's a difference between the way her name is spelled and the way the Berenstain name is spelled. Because she wasn't a moron, Like I'm just telling you, she's an adult that knew how to spell her name, and so that's my fucking evidence right there. Like it's all in my memory, but it's like I should probably look them up and find them. And they moved away. I don't know where they moved. And it's just, but the thing is, like, I know that it wasn't Berenstain. Okay, I know for a fucking fact. There's no way in hell. It was 100%. I know it was Berenstein, not Berenstain. So it's annoying. But then you start realizing how the level of annoying it is. I mean, it goes big. Like, wait, Ed McMahon never had big checks. Everybody knows that he had big checks. Even Johnny Carson did, whatever. I mean, like, never worked for Publishers Clearinghouse? What? Yeah, he did. Even my parents, they're not conspiracy theorists. They know that's what, it's not true. It's not what he was. It was never, come on, man. Fuck that. Fuck that. My girlfriend found an old coloring book of hers from when she was a little girl. It's like the Bible stories coloring book, and it has the lion and the lamb on a page together, lying there. And it's something. It shows the quote: "The lion and the lamb lay together." And it's like, hello, that was not in the. Why would they put that in the coloring book? Like, why, dude? Something fishy's going on, man. Something fucking fishy. Granted, there's a lot of these mandala effects that I think are just like, well, that's the thing. There's stuff that maybe you didn't take note of at the time, so you don't really remember, you don't have a memory of it. But like, there's a lot of them that are just like, it should just be a shoe in. Like people should be like, what? No way. Like the Volkswagen symbol, like it's connected It used to be connected, right? Like the new Volkswagen symbol has a little break between the V and the W, right? That's how it is, right? But it used to be connected. Remember back in the day, they used to have it and it was connected. The new one is like with the break in the middle. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, it's always been with the break in the middle. What? Anybody that's old as me or older knows that it wasn't like that. Just knows for a fact it wasn't like that. The break is a new thing. No, it's always been like that. It's never been the other way. Fuck you. I mean, that's basically my response to that shit. It's like, fuck you. This so reality is fluid. Oh please, what does that mean? It's like fluid, like it changes. Weird little fucking insignificant changes in our fucking pop culture memory. That's strange. It's really bizarre. You know what the fuck? I mean, that's really just like a fucking way to get me all fucked up. I want to be all fucked up. I want to like know that reality is. Oh, there goes my phone. Reality got so fluid, my phone just started flopping everywhere. Oh, here's the shade. Oh, I was on the wrong side. Here we go. Now I'm in the shade. Yeah. Oh shit! Don't do that. There we go. Justina, nice to see you. Right on. And Camellia. All right. I like your music, Camellia. You're really good. It seems like you've gotten a lot better since when I first. I mean, you never sucked, but I'm just saying I can tell that you've gotten like you've improved. I think you're playing a lot. Maybe you sound really good. I would love to play with you. And I wouldn't say that if I didn't think you sounded good. I'd just be like, yeah, it's cool. There's certain people that have a certain sort of soul that comes out in their playing. You know, you can see it right away, and that's the kind of stuff I like. What was I gonna do? I was gonna play a song, and I forget what it was. Oh yeah, we're talking about reality being fluid. The fluid reality. I guess it's not really the reality that's fluid. Well, I guess it is fluid if it's changing. Fuck, man. Why does it just have to do with stupid little pop culture things? Berenstein Bears, the way we pronounce things and fucking hyphens and BWs connected and not connected. I mean, has anybody ever like contacted any of these people that like fucking like the person that thought of the VW insignia and like and just been, hey, you know, and talk to them about it? Like, hey, the Fruit of the Loom person, did you remember having a fucking cornucopia? Like, you know, someone left a comment in my video. I think it was that dude. His channel is called Lazarus. I think it's called. He's cool. You guys should follow him. Um, he was saying, yeah, that's how I learned about what a cornucopia is. He saw, I asked my mom what it was on the fruit. You know, he was looking at the Fruit of the Loom logo. And he's like, what is that? And that's how he learned what the word cornucopia is. He said, we don't have these memories for, you know, and we have shared memories that are incorrect. I mean, that's got to be one of the biggest fucked up situations. And like people think it's a psyop. How could that be a psyop? That is such a shortcut to thinking right there. It's like, oh, it's just a psyop. Just shrug it off. What? How could that be a psyop? That doesn't make any fucking sense. Did you bother thinking that through? How could that? I don't feel like I need to explain how that's impossible to be a psyop. Maybe they've co-opted it and there's some kind of psyop going on there, but that's not. How can you? How can a bunch of people having the same wrong memory be a psyop? That doesn't make any sense. Sorry, I can't. I don't see the psyop in that. That doesn't. That angle doesn't make any sense. I mean, stupid. Next time I hear someone say that, I'm just gonna laugh at them. Or I think that's what I do every time I hear someone say that. Before I heard someone say that, I was like, well, let me hear their case. I want to hear what they're saying. Like, how could it be a psyop? And so it was Chalk Body Outline Channel, Drew, and he was talking about it, and he's just like, just basically saying, oh, these people just all have shitty memories and stuff, and this and that. I'm like, hey, man, dude, way to flip it, man. Way to flip everything back on me. It's like, no, I'm the one that has a good memory, dude. You're the one that doesn't have a good memory. I remember how it was supposed to be. Like, don't tell me I have a shitty memory. I'm the one that remembers how it was. So it's just the psyop is that you're an idiot, I guess. I don't know. I like Drew, don't get me wrong, but he kind of shrugged off the whole mandala thing. It's kind of irritating. Shout out to Brian Staveley. I used to think he was kind of like too much. I'm like, God, that's all you focus on? That's gonna drive you nuts, you know? Like some of these little petty ones are just things that like the hyphen or no hyphen. I'm like, yeah, that's. But now I've come around now. It's been a couple of years now since I've come around where I've just been like, okay, I get it now. Staveley's actually got a good thing he's doing there. it's pretty crazy shit, dude. I gotta say. And they're just like, well, reality is fluid, so now gender is fluid. Now gender can just be fluid. You can just it's like it changes. You can be this, that, and the other thing on, the next day you can be this thing, that thing. You can just be boy, girl, girl, boy, her, hers, yours, her, pronouns, or fucking whatever. That's the psyop, if there was one. And personally, I just don't know why anyone would try something so extreme. It seems like a bad dream. I don't care what they taught you. Let me tell you, it's just not true. And I don't care how hard you try. It just comes down to the fact that you can't transition into that. Nope. You just can't be what you're not. No, you just got caught. And I'm but you can't transition into that. No, you just can't. Oh yeah, and we can see what you like to be. That's something you'll never achieve. You take away what you got, my friend. That's something you can't get back, and you can't transition into that. No, you just can't transition into that. No, no, no. I don't care what they taught you. It's just something you cannot do. You can't transition into that. No, 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 no. You just can't transition into that. And God has a plan for every woman and man. Don't turn your back on God. Don't turn your back on God. Don't turn your back on God. It's not a good thing to do. You might not believe in God, but God believes in you. You can't transition into that. Be grateful for what you got. 'Cause you can't transition. No, 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 no. You can't transition into that. No, you just can't. Don't do that. Why would you do that? Don't talk anyone else into that. That's not what you should do. Don't turn your back on God. Just be grateful for what you got. You can't transition, can't transition. Don't talk anyone into doing that. You can't transition into that. You're making my brain inflame. Doesn't hurt, but it causes pain. Got this feeling like I'm getting drained by you, hollowing out. And there's nothing I can do. I tried to help, but you didn't notice. You just thought I'd gone insane. I would have cried, but I just laughed with you. You're hollowing out, and there's nothing I can do. You want to harm, ain't nothing one can do about it. Yeah, you got washed up in a horrible place. We barely recognized your face now. You're so lost, and it doesn't even matter anymore. Hollowing out, and that's what we'll expect to see. Fucking thing. I need another fucking sock. I think that did it. That's what we'll expect to see. I had nothing left to lose. Made a choice I was told not to choose by those who refuse to see when they are hollowing out. It's just something you gotta go through. Between the vibrating guitar and the fucking flies in my head, oh man, it's a real challenge just to do anything. It's not vibrating anymore. Now I'm gonna look down here and I'll find that I was muted or something. Anyways, all right. I wrote that song about a friend of mine who was like just fucking lost on drugs. So I just basically ended up not being friends with anymore after a while because he's just fucking one of those, worst case scenario type people. And I kind of put the song away after a while after I'd sort of vented the whole experience, But then after the 2020 shenanigans and people were getting jabbed and it was like there was sort of this like divide down, society. People are like, some of us were like, trying to warn people, and other people were like, la 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 la. They didn't want to hear it, So I just kind of thought the song maybe had more than one application, if that makes any sense. So I brought it back. Yeah, okay. It reminds me of this other song I've been working on. Goes like this. What did you find in the corners of your mind? Was it divine? Did it leave you in a bind? What did you see? Can you bring it back for me? What did you find in the corners of